Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of our 4th Age Rohan No Eliminations campaign, where the goal is to meet our campaign victory objectives without seeing any other factions on the map destroyed. It has been a little bit of a break for me. I sort of inadvertently took a week off, but now I am back and we have this ambush to take care of. A beautiful, beautiful thing. We are ambushing basically a full stack of Dorwinian, and they're all laid out before us. This is really wonderful to see. Now, they've got some cav. We've got some cavalry up here in the trees, and possibly one or two other units back here in the tree line in hiding. Not too sure about that. They also have some of their native Rovanian scouts. They've got some low-tier stuff, Easterling Warband, as well as Rovanian Axemen and Rovanian Foresters. These Foresters are really potentially a problem with their javelins. Everything else is looking fairly light. We do see actually kind of a lot of cavalry here, but they're very strung out, and they're in this kind of long, narrow marching formation, which means that any charges, I think, are going to be very ineffective on their part. They're led by a captain as well, no bodyguard unit, which means that we are completely free to wipe out this stack without worrying that we're taking out an important family member that might lead the faction to be eliminated or something. Again, the goal is to keep these factions in their place under our thumb. And so we'll see if we can accomplish that today. So how are we going to set up? Well, we have a fair amount of ranged units here, slingers and bowmen. So I want them to be kind of leading. We don't have any really good infantry, though. We've got a couple of axes of the mark, and these Rovanian ranger mercenaries can sort of do infantry work. But I won't be able to micromanage them and sort of take care of them. I think what we have to do is try to focus on smashing the enemy cavalry first and foremost, in particular the enemy captain, and then hope that we can get a bunch of routes going. The trick is, of course, that the cavalry is spread out pretty evenly across the line. There's some in the rear, some in the center, and a bunch up at the front. And so we're going to have to watch out so that our archers aren't simply destroyed by the enemy riders. So I think I'll keep my axemen up here in the woods, maybe along with some Rovanian Ranger mercenaries here. My own bodyguard unit, I want to be kind of careful with him because this is liable to be a pretty chaotic fight. And so we want to make sure he doesn't end up getting killed. We do have some horse archers, and I'm thinking, well, we don't have a great angle here. They're going to be downhill, and let me see if they have any archers. Not really, actually, but we could get, okay, there's some archers here. Yeah, I think it's just better to keep all of our cavalry together, keep things nice and simple. So there's our horse archers. We don't have any of the javelin throwing variety, but we'll get all of our lancers together. And we've got a group like that. Not a group, but we do have a collection, I guess. And our heavier cav, including the general, we'll put back here a little bit further, and that's looking pretty sparse. But I think what we'll do is we'll use the heavy cav to sort of manage our archers, sort of support them as cavalry comes out to attack. And then these guys will be our strike force. Actually, how about this? You guys can go here. Horse archers can deal with other cavalry that breaks through. These riders can go here, pretty much going right for the enemy captain. Archers are going to start firing. We will have to worry about these spears forming up, and this captain may not want this fight. He is sticking around for the moment, and he goes down. All right, let's get out of here. Actually, we're routing the unit of them. All right, let's keep going. I should have brought my other men to follow up. We're leaving them in the engagement there, which is not ideal. Let's get the infantry over. Okay, we're actually winning this, which is great. Let's bring these guys up. Getting a lot of routing already. Beautiful. Let's just charge in. I think we've pretty much wrapped it up. Some of those guys are coming back, but that's totally fine. We've got so many archers on this. And then we're keeping on the sort of important, dangerous cavalry units. What do we have down here? Some hunters, some warband. They're going to be shot, but also they're probably going to rout, yep, just as soon as they get close to my my king here. Yeah, I'll continue the battle. Beautiful, beautiful little ambush here. Quick strikes. We didn't even take that many losses in our lancers, and we did leave them in the fight for a little longer than I perhaps should have. So that worked out even better than expected. We're probably going to take some friendly fire. But you know what we can do is we can take our horse archers and just run them in this general direction. Let's get our infantry out of the way. Riders of the Mark out of the way. And these guys will just keep shooting and sort of herding the enemy. So what this battle has done has really put a dent in the military power of Dorwinion. And that may free up some room for us to put some pressure on them in terms of their settlements, if we feel like we are in a position to do that. We don't, as you can see, we don't have like a solid line type forces. And so taking and holding settlements and defending sort of static battle lines is not really where we're at. But I do have some plans for the Dorwinian region, actually. So once we get to the campaign map, we can talk about those. All right, let's just check out our news here. We've got some peace happening between Harad and their neighbor factions. That's always good to see. We've got another, it looks like a daughter being born, and last season report indicates that we made a bit of money last season, inching up towards 100,000 in the bank. So yeah, looking at our situation here in the region, remember our goal is ultimately to get the total number of settlements that we need to win, which is 40. We're at 10 now, so we've got a long way to go. And we've got to capture certain ones, but I think we have all of them at this point. So if we go and look, we need Edoras, of course, and Hornburg, which we have, Aldburg, which we also have. We need Dunfrecka here, and Dunkriok. We do need this for victory, as well as this. So in terms of settlements that we need, this is the only one that we haven't yet captured. So we will take this, and we'll take this as well. And then probably leave Dunland with the interior. Apart from that, though, it's really wide open in terms of what we need to do to win. So in the northeast, our only purpose in being here is to make sure that a faction doesn't get eliminated as per the self-imposed rules of this run. So what we want to do is maintain a balance of power, and I think the real goal should be dealing with this problem. Yar Helkar is held by the Chiefdom of Rune at the moment, and they are a pretty big power. They're expanding into Rovanion, and they've got full stacks, or at least one, and you know they've got a lot more on the way. Rune can really train a ton of troops, and that can be a major hassle for us to fight, and so we need to knock them down a peg. We're currently, I believe, trading with them. Let's just check to see if that is in fact the case. Yeah, we have trade rights, so we're going to have to break that in order to do what we want to do, because we're going to take Yar Helkar and gift it to another faction. Now, we could take this in a couple of ways. One is we could just attack it, loot it, and then gift it to a faction like North Rune, say. And that would be a good way of giving them another settlement, because as we've seen, this province up here of North Rune itself, which has a settlement right around here, is actually held not by North Rune, but by the Chiefdom of Rune. So these are the only two settlements that North Rune has, and they're looking a little vulnerable to me since they've got such a large neighbor. So if we gift this settlement to North Rune, that'll help them a little bit. There is the danger, of course, that they could attack us. We are, of course, at war with them, but I'm not too worried about that. We've been at war with North Rune for a while. We've sort of seen what they can do. But a war with the Chiefdom of Rune is just endless, and so we need to really just chip away at their power. The other way we could do this, though, is entirely through diplomacy. We could send an emissary over here and buy the settlement of Yar Helkar from Rune and then gift it to North Rune. That, of course, is going to be a lot more expensive, but let's just see if we can find an emissary in the area to potentially do that. Okay, we've got someone here, Baldur of Woldburg, right next to Rovanion, but he's close enough to reach this host of the Chiefdom of Rune. Let's see what it would take for them to part with that settlement of Yar Helkar. We're going to demand Yar Helkar, which is right here, and we're going to offer them, let's give them 10,000. All right, they want 18,000. Okay, they're willing to deal. So let's sort of meet them in the middle, and let's try 15,000. 15,620. All right, I'm not going to quibble over that. We just got a new settlement. Now the unrest here is going to be pretty bad, but we can now loot it. This cost us what, just about 16 grand. So we can try to get some of that back by destroying all of these things. 2,000 there, and another 2,000 there. So it's not going to be even. We also have all of these Rohan peasants at arms. These are the units that spawn when you get a province diplomatically, or potentially in a revolt type situation, I guess. Extremely low upkeep, but these can actually be kind of useful for strategic things. We saw in an earlier episode how the fortified camps that you can build on a campaign map can be really useful to sort of blocking the AI and sort of delaying their approach. And these are sort of the ideal unit to garrison those, because they're just tiny. You're not going to use them in a battle. There's no desire to put them into a real army, so you may as well just have them as garrison. This entire stack is going to cost us, I'm not going to try to do math right now, but it's going to cost us not a lot. So we may as well keep them all and use them for that type of thing. Let's get them out of Yar Helkar. Oh no! Well, damn it. That screws everything up. That screws everything up, because now I can't gift this. If I have an army standing in the province, North Rune is not going to want to take this. If the army was inside the settlement, North Rune would take it. If the army was completely outside the province, North Rune would take it, but North Rune is not going to take it if you've got an army standing on the ground outside the town, and I don't know that I can do anything about that. That's just awful. Okay, what can I do? What can I do? I could disband all of these guys.
Captain.
Yeah, okay, we're going to disband everybody, and we're so that's a shame. These would be useful for certain things. I guess it's a few hundred extra Mirian in upkeep per turn that we don't need to be paying those, so that's fine. Okay, all of those units disbanded. Now we should be good to go to North Rune. North Rune, how about this? I'm going to give you this province of Yar Helkar. I know you want it, and I'm even going to throw in a bunch of cash. How about 7,000? And I'm going to offer it as a gift, and they're going to accept. Fantastic. Now, this may cause a war between Rune and North Rune. That's not ideal, because I don't want to have to be wasting a bunch of troops defending these guys. But I'm pretty confident that I could do it, and then we can also do it by other means, by gifting them other territories. So the real question now is what to do with this army. I was thinking at first about heading them over here, but now that we don't have to break our trade agreement with Rune and start a new war, we're free to do other things. We could put more pressure onto Dorwinion, for example. We've got the heir to the throne here. We've got the king in Belagant training up more troops. I think our first step has to be to eliminate all these tiny little stacks of Dorwinions, and so that's what we're going to do. We've got a little battle here. Let's just jump in. just a couple of cavalry units and an archer, I think it was, so it should be pretty quick. And since we can't train any of our native troops, I'm going to lean pretty heavily on these mercenaries. We'll also use the air in this fight, because I think we'll be okay. Let's see where they're going to deploy. Is it up in the woods somewhere? Yeah, it's up in the woods somewhere. They're way over here. Where are you? Okay, here we are. So they're going to get some surprise attacks on us. I guess we may as well bring the horse archers over to help in the case of, like a fleeing cavalry unit that we want to take care of. Alright, and we are getting attacked actually now, which is exactly not what we want. But there's those Dorwinian bowmen. At least we lured them out, I guess, and so we know where they are. We can charge them down, probably with my general's unit. So if the air would be so kind as to take care of those bowmen, we'll bring the light cav up to support and probably deal with the other enemy cav. If it looks like we're going to be countercharged, though, we need to stop our air from getting too far ahead. Alright, they are countercharging us, so let's deal with those cav and bring our horse archers around. How are we doing? Alright, I think we're doing pretty well. Good. Enemy generals down, and we're surrounding. Taking a lot of losses, though. There we go. Let's just make sure we killed enough of them. And yeah, we just about did. Okay, there we go. Crossed the threshold of 85%. And so we should be good to just end the battle here. And we didn't do too bad. Took a few friendly fire losses. Our air took a lot. And that is the danger, of course. But he got some fighting experience, and of course all of his men are going to replenish. So as long as he didn't get some bad traits like, wounded or injured, then that should be good. Let's see. All right, I'm not seeing anything pop up. Let's just check his traits. He's an adept commander. And yeah, looks good. He's dutiful. He is well supplied still, despite being on enemy territory for a couple of turns. And a hunter, so we get +1 command when ambushing. Very, very nice. So let's move him. Let's see. The new capital is Gargal, which is fine. I don't necessarily want either of these settlements. But let's move him up here. And keep training down here, because we want to get... okay, we're running out of population. Let's hold off, actually. But we will want more men to get trained out of Belligant. So let's see what else we can do here to encourage growth. I guess that would be in... probably a healer would be in order. Merchant Square would also do it, so that's probably a really good option. That would also get us a scout, which is great. So that might be the next build. But I'm pleased to see that that Rune has not so far succeeded in taking Nareg-Zagil. We do have this dwarven noble who's mysteriously on Rovanian's territory. Not sure what that's about. But let's shift our attention over to our home territories. Over here, we were moving our army down south. We've got a couple of different hosts here. So we'll first move the one with fewer movement points down towards Emyn Arnon, and this one to follow it up. Technically, we could hire a mercenary, but I'm not going to bother with it just yet. And we are seeing a pretty decent status quo in this region, so all of that is fine. Nothing happening here with Harad taking out Harondor, but we'll get some forces down there and hopefully get a settlement that we can permanently hold somehow. Over here, we were going to head up because we're seeing Tharbad starting to win in the north, starting to take some territory from Adunabar, and it seems like only a matter of time. Yeah, look at this. They've got Arnor North in addition to Tardal, and they're probably going to be taking the Ettenmoors. They must have lost it to a revolt. This is under siege, no doubt, by Tharbad. Tharbad has taken Rivendell, so they're doing very, very well. We are at peace with the Dunlendings for now. And if it comes to it, we could buy Dunkreok from them, potentially, since we need that for our victory conditions. So if they hold the peace, fantastic. What we need to do is make sure Tharbad doesn't go crazy. They are at war with Tharbad, so how could we help them? I don't suppose an alliance is a possibility. Let's see, they're allied with Harad and Adunabar. I'm not at war with either of those factions, so theoretically we could try for an alliance. I don't know that I want to take Greyholm. What I really want to do is get Tharbad for myself. So let's just kind of bypass this and go for that ultimately. Dunabar wants trade, and I am not interested in that. They do have some big armies in the area just across the Anduin, but I also see the Bjornings moving down. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, so this is good. The Bjornings, see, some have mentioned in the comments, what about the Bjornings? You don't have any forces around here. I'm not too worried about the Bjornings, actually. It seems like Dale, for one thing, doesn't seem too aggressive towards them most of the time. For another thing, the Bjornings often will expand, at least a little bit. They'll maybe take this settlement over here. They may try for mid-deeping, and it certainly looks like they're going to do that. They may even go into the west. They need to take the High Pass stronghold, which is right here. And so a lot of times they will eventually get this and then come down here to move towards like Last Bridge. So I'm really not too worried about the Bjornings, but if we hear that they've gone to war with Dale, then we'll definitely take a look at that. My hope now is that they're going to cause trouble for Adunabar, although again, we don't want Adunabar to get wiped out. So let's check our news. Yes, wars again. This is the thing that just keeps happening. Here's Harondor besieging Harad. All right. And lost a lot of money due to our diplomacy. But again, you can see we're building it back up again pretty swiftly, so we can afford to do things like that. Well, let's get our armies in Ithilien down further into the south and figure out what we're going to do with them. You know, on the one hand, what I would want to get is a province like somewhere down around here, just so I can be at a central point between all these different factions. But on the other hand, as we've seen how hard it is to hold places like Carenbad, and so maybe I don't need to like take a settlement that's way far away. I could take like Harondor's capital maybe, especially if it looks like they're being aggressive and they're beating Harad. Then I could just have a nice settlement that's kind of close to my homelands. And that might be the way to go. Of course, that would encourage the Reunited Kingdom to attack Harondor. So that might not be the best move. But we'll see how this battle goes. If Harondor wins, I'm inclined to attack them and just try to get a settlement in the area. Okay, up here in the northeast, I'm thinking there's no more loose armies of Dorwinion around. You can get our scout moving through here, but unless there's like an army somewhere in the trees, which I doubt, this is probably all that they've got. So what I could do at this point is start besieging. And so one thing I could do is consolidate some of these riders that I don't technically need right now. Get right next to them, grab a unit of mercenaries, and put Gargle under siege. And we'll just go with 3 rams. Now, the walls here are pretty low. They're the basic palisade, so no real towers or platforms. And we would just try to besiege this for a while. And also try to get some other troops going. Let's see. No more cavalry or archers available here yet, unfortunately. And we may want to wait as well to sort of get the population up. So, let's see. 6,300. Healer would be only 1 turn sooner. And I think the Merchant Square gives us more options, more income for sure, and as well as the ability to train spies. So in addition to increasing the population, I think that's what we'll do here. Not seeing any war break out over here, so that's excellent news. And North Rune seems pretty passive at this point, so I'm happy with that. I mean, this can completely stay like this. I don't need to do anything else here. I don't even need to do this, getting a protectorate or anything. But if I can, it's always fun to try. Okay, so around Tharbad, they have left us an opportunity, but it's kind of not the best. They have an army that is technically adjacent to the Southgard fort, so we could attack it theoretically and then maybe get this fort. I don't really want this fort, but, you know, I think we have to start something against Tharbad here, given their strength in the north. So let's do this. And they did not stick around for that fight. And so, yeah. City of Kingdom of Tharbad and the United Kingdom are no longer brothers in arms, so we basically forced them to stop being friendly. Very, very good. Now, maybe that'll be bad, because they could turn around and attack Bree, I suppose, because the United Kingdom is going to go to war with them. They're not at war with them this turn, but they will be the next turn. So yeah. All right, not seeing any big armies of Dunland that are coming around to help us. I'm not seeing any other big armies of Tharbad either, so hopefully the big armies are away in the north, and we can cause some damage before they get to us. I don't think I want to bother putting this under siege. I'm just going to... Next season we'll be out of the zone of control of this, and I'll be able to put Tharbad under siege. Oh, interesting. Tharbad wants a ceasefire with us. All we did was attack them, and we're not bordering them, so they are not interested in fighting. Let's see if they'll give us anything, then. Give province. I don't suppose they'll give us Tharbad. But, you know, I might be interested in a place like Lastbridge or Three Ways. Three Ways would introduce a buffer between Tharbad and the Shire. So let's see if they'll give us that. And also, let's demand some money. I'm not sure at all if this is going to work. Okay. They'll give us 5,000 and Three Ways. Awesome. We got some cash. We got a new city. Beautiful. See, this is the thing that I love about this game. The diplomacy seems baffling and weird, but once you understand what the AI is interested in and what it pays attention to, namely borders, it starts to make sense. It doesn't make sense in a human thinking, intelligent way necessarily, but it makes a certain degree of sense that you can sort of imagine. Like, I can see how Tharbad, being engaged with all of these battles in the north, trying to expand and secure its position, also being at war with Dunland and losing its ally, the Reunited Kingdom, would suddenly desperately want a ceasefire with me, who has just landed a big army on its territory, has no other borders with it, and stands to lose a lot of ground. So they're going to give us some money. They're even going to give us a very valuable settlement for that. Now, we have a candidate for adoption here, and I think we're probably... Geez, he's youthful. He's over bold, but he's energetic. I guess we could use a commander somewhere. Oh, perfect, Belligant. Yes, we could use him in Belligant because we don't have a lot of men around there. So fantastic. All right, let's check out our. All right, so we've got the Reunited Kingdom at war with Tharbad, And I think they're going to stay at war with Tharbad for like the rest of the game, maybe. We'll see how it goes. But now we've just dragged them into a war that they'll never be able to get rid of. Yeah, sorry, Tharbad. Now, 3 ways we may not be able to hold this. Actually, we're pretty close to it. We've got all these peasants. We also got a couple of very nice, cheap mercenary bowmen. Let's see. I think there's some stuff here that we don't need. The control posts and the town councils. I think I want to keep the fiefdom dominion because it is giving a tiny bit of public order there. We could relocate our capital, which I believe is still Edoras. Is that right? Yeah. Let's see if Dol Baran makes a difference. We do have to keep an eye on Belagant's public order. Let's see. We're making 9,000. If we go with Dol Baran as the capital, that stays exactly the same. But this gets to 70, which is just what it needs to be. All right, so that's going to be kind of tricky. We don't have any Dominion buildings that are coming online, so there's no way for us to really improve this short of getting more men up there. All right, well, one thing I could try to do is see about getting an alliance and military access, so that I could actually move through Tharbad. Otherwise, what I'll do is attack them here. And this is not honorable. This is not an honorable Rohan campaign. I'm not sure if you were expecting that we were gonna like role play this as sort of a nice good guy faction. When I said it was no elimination, so we're not going to kill anybody, we're not going to genocide anybody, you may have gotten the misapprehension that this was about being a nice, honorable, live by your word sort of Rohan Yorling campaign, and nothing could be further from the truth. We are trying desperately with our Machiavellian machinations to just accomplish our goals, and if that means we get a ceasefire, get a bunch of cash, get a settlement, and then immediately break it, well then, them's the breaks. So let's see if we have a diplomat around that could possibly get in touch with Tharbad and see about military access. We will try that route if we can. Yes, down here we've got an emissary, Arahad of Tharbad, probably the guy who arranged the peace prior, and we've got our older emissary Freyawyne, who's a master of tongues. Let's send him over here and see if we can get something to happen. All right, Tharbad. Alliance, trade rights. I'm going to give you 5,000 Mirian for that. Will you take it? Yes. All right. I am also going to give you military access, and I'm going to give you a gift of 5,000 Mirian. All right, military access, and I give a gift. Boom. All right, next step. Demand military access. Offer single payment. And because I don't want to screw around here, let's ask for 8,000. You jerks. All right, so it's definitely war now. Definitely war. Yep. I'm about to torpedo my reputation, and I don't care. They've got armies right outside 3 ways, so I don't hold any great illusions about that. But it's worth it if I can get Tharbad for myself. So we've got an army here that is just some low tier Rhydor spearmen and some Tharbad militia. Nothing too concerning. And inside the city itself, I don't know what it is. But let's start the battle here. If we could get the settlement without a siege, of course, that would be awesome. It is a bridge battle, though, so we'll have to see how we can make that successful. Yeah, you can see the settlement in the background there. All right. We don't know what we have coming, but we do know that we've got a ton of archers. So let's bring them all up. And let's do the group thing. Someone pointed that out in the comments, and it's absolutely the right thing to do. Group your men together in sort of reasonable formations. I think that's pretty good, actually. We've got all of our Rohan riders together, our Rohan spears together. We've got our general back here, our archers and our infantry making up the back, so to speak. But we're going to move the archers, like right up here, in a couple of different formations, I guess. Here's our infantry. Shields of the Mark. Meduseld Guard can do shield wall, so I guess we can do that. We'll see if they come to us. That would be really nice. But I'm not sure that that's going to happen. Alright, here's our Rohan riders. And Rohan spears. And let's see. Alright, what do they have in the city? No family members. So it looks like a unit of pikemen there. Here's another unit of Tharbad pikemen. These are a very good unit. Some more Tharbad militia. Axemen. These are deceptively good. More militia and, what is it, 3 units of pikes? Okay. Alright, they're coming forward. I want them to come all the way down. No cavalry, which could make this easier. Let's just wait for them to approach. Alright, they're just about with the other force now. There's no other crossing here, I don't think. So what I'm going to do is, let's rush the Rohan riders out, and I should have done this sooner. Get them off skirmish mode. Get our general over there as well. And these guys don't have any ranged units at all either. So that's awesome. We've got cavalry, we've got ranged advantage. They've got the infantry advantage, though. Bring our archers up a little bit more. Alright, let's get away. They're still milling about, but I'm worried they may be retreating. So we're bringing our infantry up. Hopefully we can get them involved, and we can get the archers around too. Alright, the archers may swim, which would not be ideal. We do have to watch out for the pikemen, of course. And they're moving really quickly. Tharbad militia. I think I want you guys on skirmish, in fact. Alright. Militia charging. What's that? Tharbad militia winning easily. Yeah, our archers are swimming. Now, we completely slammed that unit of militia. We've got another unit incoming. I think our infantry can hold. Right, our spearmen are marching. Oh, here's the pikes. Let's get out of here. Get out and away from those pikes. Alright, some of the archers coming up out of the water. Alright. Kill those Aridor spearmen and all of these men. Alright, some of these guys are on skirmish. I'll take them off. But what we're going to do is actually run away. We're going to micromanage them. Alright, what's that? Oh, that was the enemy general that we killed. Okay, great. Come back here. Come back here. We want to hit this back line. Alright, we did not successfully avoid the pikes, but you know what? We'll hit them. Alright, Tharbad pikemen hitting them in the back. See if that works. Do the horn call trick. Okay. Routing. Great. Great, great, great. Alright, I think we can make this work. You guys all skirmish now, and the riders can charge in. All right, hit that general unit. 2 sides, archers hitting them. Everybody else is running away. Beautiful. All right, now run away. You can all skirmish, actually. But this is all going to be over in a short period of time. Get all of them. Get the general close enough to start causing fear. He's down to 32 men. Let's get these other Rohan riders in just for massive numbers. Okay, our little archers are swimming and not drowning yet. They're not drowning en masse just yet. Okay, we've got that unit all taken care of. Let's come back here. All right, we may want to... I think now's a good time. They're sort of turned away. They turned to face us just in time, but they are routing. It's not enough. All right, then you guys can stop firing. And there he goes. The defender of Tharbad is down. And we're just going to kill these last routers. And we should have it, folks. Clear victory. Lost about 100 men. Very, very reasonable. And let's see. Yes, indeed. Tharbad is ours. And look at the public order there. Okay, so we've got at 70 in 3 ways, although with an addition of a new settlement, that may have dropped a little. We'll have to check that. I do not want to lay desolate this settlement because we want to keep it. We want the manpower here. Low taxes brings it back to 120. Very nice. And we're still at 70 in 3 ways. I'd love to think that we could hold both of these. But if I lose 3 ways, that's actually fine. I don't necessarily want to get too close to the Reunited Kingdom. Unless, if they're eliminated, if they lose Bree and, you know, a Dunabar or Tharbad comes on, then I'll take it. But otherwise, this is looking pretty good. I have really damaged them. I've sort of cut out some very important settlements from them. They're also under siege, both at Londere and at Greyholm, another couple of important homelands that they began with. And so Dunland should be taking care of that. All right, so yes, we did throw a ton of money at Tharbad for no reason. Just trying to get military access. That process that I was using, though, does work sometimes. I think probably I needed to wait another turn. You sort of first have to get an alliance, and then you have to give military access with a gift attached, and then you ask for military access, and you also give a bunch of money for it. Maybe I didn't give enough money. Maybe I simply didn't wait long enough, wait in between giving and then asking for military access. Who knows? But we've got the cash to come back from that anyway, and we're going to get more cash because we're going to destroy a Lord's Barracks for 5,000. We're going to destroy a Great Lawkeepers for another 5 grand. We've got some really good stuff here. We do have a naval haven. I don't think this is doing anything for us, though. I'm not sure. This is hurting our land tax, I believe. The haven is good. This allows us to train a war boat, and it gets us some trade fleets. But this is, I believe, just a drain on our resources. But I think I'm going to leave it for now and do a little research just to sort of double check that. They've already got some great stuff built here. Fishmongers is good. This is going to eventually get us not public order, growth. So population growth. When we get to the second tier, they've already got the open policy built. Very, very nice. Now we will have to destroy this, but I don't want to do it yet because we're so close to a revolt in 3 ways that getting rid of one of those Dominion buildings would cause a revolt. So we're not going to risk that. Everything else here can stay. And in terms of training, we can train a scout immediately. We can train another emissary, so I'll queue both of those things up. We've got some population, but unless we lose 3 ways, we're going to have to wait to really get the numbers up. That's just going to continue to plunge until we build our Dominion. Let's take a look at what we could train here theoretically. It's going to be some low tier, not very good stuff initially. Tier 1 just gets us those Ariador Spearmen, which are very flimsy units. At least they have a bonus against riders, and their upkeep is very low, decent unit size. Tier 2 gets us Ariador Scouts, Javelins, which is nice. Very low upkeep cost. So this is a great garrison unit, but also gives us a bit of flexibility with ranged, which we don't have. I mean, we have archers, but it's nice to have javs too. We'll also get some, our more robust spearmen as well as some cavalry. Tier 3 in Tharbad, we would get some good stuff. We get our Axes of the Mark. Bowmen of Rohan, this is an important unit, of course. Rohan Riders, and even Rittermark Scouts. And then Tier 4, we get our Shields of the Mark and Riders of the Mark. So this is a decent province. Nothing too exciting in terms of the local levies, but, it's something. And belatedly, we get the notification of an alliance, which I guess I just didn't check before attacking them. So we are no longer, of course, allied with Tharbad. And since I have 3 ways at the moment, I may as well train an emissary just to have another interlocutor in the area. And even with all that weird diplomacy stuff that we did, we're expected to make a little bit of money. So I may as well see about putting that back into our coffers by some spending. Let's see. Captain's Feasts here would get me Dunlandish Spearman levies. So I think I'll go ahead and spend on that. It's also going to help a little bit with law. And it's going to decrease the ways of darkness that we're experiencing here. And I can see, actually, that the Bjornings have taken Fairfeld. This was initially a rebel settlement, and so they've moved down there. We are now officially neighbors with the Bjornings. And so given that, I think it might be time to build up Woldburg a little bit. We can go with mustering fields here. I did intend for this to be a military province, I think, simply because we've got a little bit better trade prospects in Easthold. So this is already financial. And as an outpost, it kind of makes sense for this one to go military. This will get us some of our better units, a bit more flexibility in our infantry and cavalry. And since why not? Let's just see if Dorwinion is interested in a protectorate. So what you want to do typically is have all of their settlements under siege, demand an overlordship, and give like 100,000 or so. You can get protectorates for a lot less than that. But in this case, it's not going to work. That's because we don't have their other settlement under siege. And they've got enough men in Gargal, and they may just hate us anyway. And the fact that we just betrayed our ally may have really screwed up our diplomatic prospects, so we may never get a protectorate out of them. But they do at least have an emissary out in the world. So if we can put together another army, then we may be able to actually put this under siege and deal diplomatically with them. While we have 2 settlements under siege, and that may make things a little bit better. For now, though, I think we'll just end the season. All right, I'm seeing a big army of North Rune moving down towards Belligant, and as expected, Tharbad is besieging 3 ways. Well, that's just fine. Looks like the Reunited Kingdom is coming to help, at least in a token sort of way. So this is an army that we can't beat, given all we have here is 2 archers and a bunch of basically peasants with sticks. So it's very, very unlikely. This is a nobleman, very tough unit. They've got some other stuff, some archers. So we wouldn't be able to win this fight, but again, I'm not too worried about it. I probably should have gone ahead and destroyed some more buildings, but I guess we can do that next time. And of course, Dunland has peaced out with Tharbad. They've failed to take their 2 settlements, and they've decided that they don't want to fight anymore. Great. Great. So that means Dunland will probably be attacking us again. They'll have to get through our forts here and the choke point of the river. So I'm not too worried about that. We've got some forces that we've been building up in Edoras, as well as Hornburg and Easthold, to just kind of give a little beef to any defensive maneuvers we may have to make in the region. So if Dunland wants to come knocking again, sure. So since we're under siege in 3 ways, and since the public order has actually improved, I think we can afford now to go ahead and destroy the homeland dominion here and start working on provincial pacification. That's going to help arrest the downward plunge of our population. We'll be able to start actually growing population here, so we can hopefully be able to train some things for garrison duty. But while we wait for resupply, we may also be thinking about... actually, he's already well supplied, not injured, so we don't need to leave him in the settlement. So we do need to start thinking about what to do next. I think what I may want to do is capture the forts to the north and the south, either by diplomacy, by bribery, or by just buying them, or by taking them militarily. Because these are going to give some trade income to Tharbad, the settlement itself. Even if we're at war with everybody else around us, we're still trading with these little forts. So that actually can be quite a help. And also it prevents the awkward situation where you have a besieging army on the bridge, and then to break the siege, you may have to fight a bridge battle, depending on where you are. So I think taking the forts is ultimately a good idea. It takes the pressure off of Tharbad. But we're not going to do that this episode. I think this episode, the last thing we're going to do is actually we need to take a look at Dunfrecca. We've got some public order problems here. Let's train another unit, and then we need to think about this. We have, oh, that's right, we have some unrest happening. All right, we are officially Ways of Darkness, so we need to start changing that. Let's get on the Lord's Feasts. So the reason we're officially Ways of Darkness is because of the buildings, I believe. We're at 75 for both, and for some reason it just flips the tie for that Ways of Darkness, which is probably what it was initially. So we need to get above that by buildings, which we will do with this. This gives us 60%. The current feast building gives us only 25. So 4 more seasons. Not only are we going to be making more money here, a couple hundred plus, we're going to be decreasing the corruption, and it's going to be helping the public order. So we may as well do that. But let's go down South Athelion and move our men down here. We can see that, geez, Harad has just stubbornly held out. And let's check our other factions we're keeping an eye on. So Far Harad is one that I'm worried about. We've seen that Khand has done pretty well. They've taken Khand has taken this capital that Far Harad begins with. They've taken these other settlements as well in the desert. So Khand is pretty strong right now. We may then want to use these armies to get down to sort of help Far Harad a little bit before bringing them back north and deciding what else to do. So I think that's going to be the eventual plan. We could try one more time for Protectorate out of these guys. Let's first try the whole offer map information and see what you have to say. And it's probably going to be nothing because they just hate us. So we'll wait until we get up around 90 plus 100,000 again, and they may want to accept it at that point. But we may not really be able to do too much because we may have North Rune attacking us pretty soon, unless there's a war between North Rune and Rune itself. And Rune actually made it, and they're besieging Barra's Doom. Now, they may not take it because these are very, very tough units, but they may. And if they do, we may have a very interesting situation where Rune is taking apart Dale and the Dwarves from the north, which I'd actually love to see. It'd be really interesting. So stay tuned for that, folks. In the next episode, we will move further into Harad. We'll consolidate our hold around Tharbad, and we will try to see what is happening in the northeast and if any new wars are going to brew. Until then, everybody, take care.